Have you ever wondered why some people seem to navigate life's storms with grace while others crumble under the slightest pressure? This might be a consequence of the philosophy they follow. One such philosophy is Stoicism, a school of thought that traces its roots back to ancient Greece. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control every aspect of our lives, we can control how we respond to it. It's a philosophy that encourages us to focus on what's within our control and to accept what isn't, promoting resilience, tranquility, and wisdom. In the face of adversity, a Stoic stays calm, composed, and focused. It's no wonder that even in our modern world, Stoicism remains a powerful tool for navigating life's challenges. But Stoicism isn't just about personal resilience. It's a guide on how to interact with the world. To truly master Stoicism, it's crucial to understand the types of people it warns us about. First on our list is the hedonist. Meet the individual who's constantly chasing the next high, the next thrill, the next indulgence. This person lives for pleasure, and their life revolves around seeking out and soaking in the most delightful experiences. But why does Stoicism warn us about the hedonist? You see, Stoicism teaches us that happiness and tranquility come from within, not from external pleasures. The hedonist lifestyle, on the other hand, is a never-ending cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Each pleasure is fleeting, leading to a relentless pursuit of the next. This constant chase can be draining and ultimately unfulfilling. Furthermore, it's a lifestyle that often neglects virtue, personal growth, and meaningful connections with others. Stoicism encourages us to find satisfaction in simplicity, virtue, and inner peace, rather than indulgence in external pleasure. And so we learn that the hedonist's pursuit of pleasure often leads to their downfall. Next, we have the power-hungry individual. This person is characterized by their insatiable desire for control. They are constantly in a battle with the world around them, seeking to bend it to their will. They crave dominance over people, circumstances, and even time itself. But here's the thing, this obsession with control is a contradiction to the core principles of Stoicism. Stoicism teaches acceptance of the things we cannot change, fostering serenity and inner peace. It encourages us to distinguish between what's within our control and what's not. The power-hungry individual, however, struggles with this concept. They resist the flow of life, trying to manipulate every outcome. They fight against the inevitable uncertainties of life, creating unnecessary internal turmoil. In the grand scheme of things, their ceaseless pursuit of control becomes their downfall. It's like chasing the wind, utterly futile. The power-hungry individual's obsession with control is their Achilles heel. Third, we encounter the pessimist. Like a storm cloud on a sunny day, the pessimist carries an umbrella of negativity, always ready to rain on any parade. They see the world through a lens tinted with gloom and doom, finding the worst in everything and expecting the worst from everyone. This is in stark contrast to the Stoic way of life. Stoicism teaches us to accept reality as it is, not as we fear it to be. It encourages us to understand that life is a blend of both good and bad, and that we must accept this duality to live fully. By constantly expecting the worst, the pessimist traps themselves in a cycle of negativity. This negative outlook, more often than not, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They expect the worst, and so the worst often finds them. It's a dangerous way of thinking, one that contradicts the serenity and acceptance that Stoicism promotes. The pessimist's negative outlook often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Fourth, we meet the egoist. This individual embodies a self-centered view of the world, seeing everything and everyone as mere extras in their personal drama. The egoist's lens is tinted with an unyielding focus on the self, often blinding them to the needs, feelings, and perspectives of others. Now let's contrast this with Stoic values. Stoicism at its heart promotes a sense of community and understanding. It encourages us to see ourselves as part of a larger whole, to cultivate empathy, and to consider the common good in our actions. In contrast, the egoist's single-minded focus on self-interest is not merely a deviation from Stoic principles, but a stark contradiction. Their lack of empathy and disregard for the collective good can create a chasm between them and others. The egoist's self-centered worldview often leads to isolation. It's a path that strays far from the Stoic ideal of balance, understanding, and community interconnectedness. Fifth, we come across the fearful. This is the person who is constantly haunted by the specter of what's to come. They're perpetually trapped in the throes of anxiety, unable to fully enjoy the present moment. Their mind is a battlefield, a war zone of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. Life, for them, is a ticking time bomb, each tick louder than the last. Stoicism, however, urges us to be mindful of the present. It teaches us to focus on the here and now, leaving the uncertainties of the future where they belong, in the future. The fearful's approach is antithetical to this. Their constant dread of the future robs them of the joy and beauty of the present. It's like they're forever standing on the edge, peering into the abyss of the unknown, and in doing so, they miss the solid ground beneath their feet. The fearful's constant worry prevents them from truly living. They're so focused on what might happen that they overlook what is happening, and that, my friends, is no way to live. Sixth, we encounter the ignorant. This type of individual is characterized by their disregard for learning and their resistance to change. They often mistake knowledge for wisdom, and in their complacency, they stifle their own growth. The ignorant is content to remain in their bubble of comfort, refusing to challenge their existing beliefs or explore new ideas. They see the world through a narrow lens, and in their stubbornness, they reject the possibility of expanding their horizons. This is a far cry from the Stoic ideal of constant growth and learning. The Stoic is a lifelong student, forever seeking to broaden their understanding of the world and of themselves. They recognize that knowledge is only as valuable as the wisdom it imparts, and they strive to apply their learning in a practical and meaningful way. The ignorant, however, is resistant to this idea. They are satisfied with the surface level, with the status quo. They are unwilling to delve deeper, to question, to challenge, to grow. This is a dangerous mindset, for it stagnates the mind and hinders progress. The ignorant remain stuck in their ways, oblivious to the opportunities and insights that lie beyond their narrow scope of understanding. But Stoicism teaches us that this is not the path to wisdom or fulfillment. It encourages us to continuously seek knowledge, to question our beliefs and assumptions, and to remain open to new ideas. It reminds us that growth and adaptation are fundamental aspects of life, and that we should embrace these processes, not resist them. The ignorant's resistance to learning is not just a hindrance, it is their biggest obstacle. It prevents them from achieving their full potential, from realizing their true capacity for wisdom and growth. It is a barrier that they themselves have constructed, and until they choose to dismantle it, they will remain trapped within its confines. So let us strive to be the opposite of the ignorant. Let us embrace the Stoic principles of lifelong learning and adaptation, and let us recognize that our capacity for growth is limitless. The ignorant's resistance to learning is their biggest obstacle. Finally, we meet the Overindulger. The Overindulger is a character whose life is a constant chase for more. More food, more drink, more indulgence. They are driven by their desires, their appetites, their cravings. But Stoicism warns us about this type of behavior. Why? Because it's a life lived without balance, without moderation. It's a life that's always striving for the next high, the next thrill, the next dose of pleasure. But what happens when the pleasure wears off? What happens when the high subsides? The Overindulger is left empty, unsatisfied, yearning for more. Stoicism teaches us to seek balance, to exercise self-control, to be content with what we have. It encourages us to appreciate the simple pleasures in life and to not let our desires control us. It reminds us that a life of excess can lead to ruin. This is why we must be wary of the Overindulger. Their lack of self-control often leads to their downfall. So, we've journeyed through the 7 types of people Stoicism warns us about. We've met the Hedonist, hooked on pleasure, and the power-hungry individual, consumed with control. We've encountered the Pessimist, who sees the cup as perpetually half empty, and the Egoist, with an inflated sense of self-importance. We've also come across the fearful, paralyzed by their anxieties, and the ignorant, who choose to stay uninformed. Lastly, we've seen the Overindulger, always wanting more than necessary. Each represents a path that strays from the Stoic ideal of living in accordance with virtue and reason. It's crucial to recognize these types, not just in others, but also within ourselves. Self-awareness is a powerful tool in cultivating a Stoic mindset. It's about striving to steer clear of these tendencies and seeking balance, wisdom, and tranquility. Remember, Stoicism isn't just about avoiding these types of people, but also about avoiding becoming these types of people.